morning, YouTube. Well, today I'm in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and we're going to do a little exploring of the town. Most people know it because of John Brown's raid. Then when he tried to get a slave rebellion going, didn't work out so well for him, but did trigger a lot of talk and sort of spurred on, some say, the beginning of the Civil War. But in I think my last video from Antietam in 1862, there was a large force of federal troops here, and Lee, invading the North, didn't want them behind him. He also would have liked to get his hands on the arms and such here, so he split his forces and sent 3 of his armies down here, Stonewall Jackson leading it, and they were able to capture the town by putting artillery up on a height and bombarding it, and basically kept made the Federals surrender after, I think, a day. It was the largest surrender of U.S. forces until the Battle of Bataan. So, well, the main reason Harper's Ferry was put here was it's where the Potomac and the Shenandoah rivers come together, and so there's power here for mills and such, and the location on a point in the river is pretty strategic as a way to protect it. So in 1801, they had established this as a U.S. armory, and so this is actually where they invented the idea of interchangeable parts, so that they can manufacture lots of arms and not have to do each one individually, as was the case before. So, in any case, let's go explore the town, shall we? So behind me is the outline of the foundations for the large armory. That's where they stored the completed weapons. This was 2 stories high and was crammed full in bulk. They made so many weapons here that they couldn't. They just didn't have boxes to put them in. They actually had another building which was called the small armory, both of which were destroyed by fire. 1861, and that's when basically that killed the manufacturing of weapons here. Far behind me is a building that's now known as John Brown's Fort. It was the engine house. Fire? I'll go check. But that's where he held up, and eventually the U.S. Marines under the command of Robert E. Lee captured him. So let's take a walk over there, check that building out. Okay, here's the other side of so-called John Brown's Fort. And it definitely was a fire engine house. It was, after that raid, had been vandalized, torn down, rebuilt 4 different times. One time it was dismantled and taken up to Chicago for the exposition. It was brought back here and stands today as part of the National Monument or National Park. But so you can imagine, you'd think if it was the original structure, you'd be able to see some damage, bullet holes, that kind of stuff. Nope. Who knows how much of that is the actual original structure and not just bricks that they've picked up along the way? I don't know. But in any case, that's where he was captured and taken farther south for trial, and eventually was hung. All right, let's check out some more of the town. So another aspect of Harper's Ferry that most people don't know or wouldn't even think of is that while this was an established industrial town in the early 1800s, Lewis and Clark, Meriwether Lewis, when deciding where to get supplies, came to Harper's Ferry. The guns were very important because that was able to help feed the men, as well as when they ran across a grizzly, after 9 shots, finally one in the head was able to kill that grizzly. So the Lewis designed a boat and that would be able to be broken down, and tried to use that. It didn't work out so well because it couldn't find the right pine sap to seal it, and the beeswax and charcoal and tallow didn't seal it as well as it could be. But over here is sort of it's a representation of what they took with them from here. So things for fishing, pipe tomahawks, knives, rifles, powder horns, pair of musket mold or bullet molds, whippers or gun worms, extra locks, for tools for repairing the arms. Basically, one of the most, you wouldn't think of it, but one of the most important things was the grindstone, because that was able to help keep all those knives and tomahawks and such sharp. So, and that steel frame in there would have been what they tried using for the boat, covered with animal skin. So anyway, that's just one of those aspects that just never think that there's that connection. So no, let's go back outside and explore the town some more. So behind me, you really get an idea, or get a view of where the two rivers coming together, Potomac and the Shenandoah. This town was devastated by floods many times in its history. Pretty much that's wiped out a lot of things. Up here on the hill, you know, more protected from the floods. The low towns are what was hit the worst. Church here behind me, the Catholic Church, was protected during the battle by the pastor flying a Union Jack over it to signify that the church was a neutral place. So it escaped relatively unscathed with the bombardment from the Confederates and Union forces fighting. So, all right, let's head up the hill. I have no idea what this building used to be, but its ruins are really cool. Well, I should have looked at it from the other side. This is St. John's Episcopal Church's ruins. It was built in 1852, provided by funds from church fairs. It served as a hospital and barracks during the Civil War, suffered considerable damage, rebuilt afterwards, but was abandoned in 1895. When a new Episcopal church was built in the upper town. So, that's what happens when I come from the backside. Okay, behind me here is Jefferson Rock. I was going to tell you a big, long, convoluted lie that Jefferson carried this up here when he was a young man and put it here because he liked the spot, but that's not true. What it is, he did come here and describe the view from here as worth voyage across the Atlantic to come see. So let me just take a step up here, get near the top of it, not on it, and give you a 360. Right, so head over here. So again, the rock's behind me, and the view. There's the Catholic Church, Potomac, Susquehanna, and then trail going on to Upper Town. So, finally going to set foot on the Appalachian Trail. This will probably be the only time I do. Too many years in a factory ruined ankles, knees, and hips. I wish I'd known about that when I was 18. But, well, Zach, I'm actually going to touch the Appalachian Trail probably where you did at one point, because somewhere around here is the official home. All right. Oh, here we go. Oh well, pursuing a different dream now.